What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and today we are checking out the Porsche 911 GT3 with the touring package, which means that this is basically your daily driver GT3. It is a little less shouty, it's a little less extreme to look at, of course, because of the delete of that rear wing. Other than that, there are a few little differences here and there, but they are surprisingly similar. So today I'm going to show you around it. Of course, we made a review of the regular GT3 already. So if you want to learn more about the development of this car, about the incredible chassis and suspension setup, click in the top right corner. I'll link the video over there. Today, as I said, we're going to focus on the differences. Well, number one is that we've got the front bumper, the look, the intakes, the radiators, everything is the same, except for this inner part is painted in the body color. And with the GT3 regular, that is like a matte plastic. At the front, we've got the same carbon fiber front lid here, all carbon, with those two air outlets, air vents. Porsche LED matrix headlights, very cool look with those dark surrounds. And then we've got the beautiful regular alloy wheels, so no black wheels. That's a thing I love about this touring package, is that you get chrome window surrounds, you get alloy wheels instead of black, and it just makes the car a lot friendlier, while at the same time keeping that extreme look. I mean, it's still a very aggressive car. It still looks like a race car from the front, I would say, with those air outlets, those air vents, super aggressive front bumper, a little splitter. And then we've got these beautiful center lock wheels. Behind that, the optional Porsche carbon ceramic brakes, a real must for this car. They cost like 10,000 euros, but I would definitely go for that, with yellow brake calipers. Now this color fits the GT3 with touring package very well. This is agate gray, very beautiful actually. I think it fits the 911 really well. As I said, we've got chrome window surrounds on a GT3 that is black, 21-inch wheels at the rear, 20 at the front. And then of course the big difference is at the rear. We've got chrome tailpipes, we've got the same super racy diffuser at the rear, and then we've got this part and this part, of course. Now this engine cover is specific for the GT3 Touring, as you can see, and then we've got the spoiler right there from the regular 911, albeit with a little more angle. Now I will extend the spoiler for you guys so you can see what it looks like. That should do it. Now, I absolutely love this car. I think the GT3 Touring is exceptionally cool, and I would love having one, but I hate this spoiler. I think it looks so bad. Extended, I don't know, it just looks like there's a panel that someone left open or something. I don't get it. I think it really doesn't look good. And if you buy a GT3 and you remove the rear wing, you have that little ducktail, which I think is a much better look than this. I would honestly try to pay someone to get the fuse disabled and get that spoiler to be just like that all the time, because I really don't like it. So on a GT3 you can't get a panoramic roof, you can't get a rear seat, all to save weight. We've got lighter glass, a lighter exhaust. We've got double wishbone suspension at the front, which is new for the first time on a Porsche. And you don't get the option to get a roll cage in a GT3 Touring. You also get leather as standard. So those are two differences compared to a GT3, which make this like the more daily driver version of it. This is mainly aimed at driving like a mountain road or whatever, something like that. And the GT3 with the wing, of course, is really geared towards driving on track. Now, we also have a manual gearbox, as you can see, so that completes the lineup. There are basically four choices. So you can go for a manual or a PDK gearbox, you can go for a GT3 or a GT3 with touring package. Now, I would suggest, my common sense tells me that the touring should be had with a manual gearbox and the GT3 should be had with a PDK. I think, you know, the PDK, you can't beat it. It's just so quick, the gearbox. The ratios are much shorter, and all in all, it's just a way better fit for track driving. And I would say that this manual 6-speed gearbox is so good for just fun driving, for just enjoying yourself. So Martijn is going to join me on my drive because we don't have a rear seat, as you now know, which I do want to say I think is an oversight by Porsche. I would have loved to see at least the option to put a rear seat in there, or maybe just some Isofix child seat mounting points, just to make it a little bit more practical. Because if this is the daily driver GT3, then, you know, there are a lot of people who are going to want that kind of stuff. All right. So it is very wet today, very slippery. We've got very slippery Goodyear tires. And it's not really GT3 weather, this. It's more turbo weather, Turbo S. So the suspension setup is exactly the same as with the GT3. There are a lot of misconceptions about this. Even we thought that a GT3 with touring package was softer in its suspension, that it was like a more relaxed version of the GT3, but it's not. It's just the package which gives you the front bumper painted in body color, the rear wing delete, leather as standard instead of Alcantara on the interior, stuff like that. So the question, PDK or manual, really depends on what you're going to use the car for. The weight difference is 17 kilos, so not even that much. But I have to say that the PDK is such a good gearbox that the manual feels like a completely different car. It really does. Because you're much more involved with the driving, of course, but also with the engine. You're much more aware of where the power is in this engine, where the torque is, because you can't just, you know, use the pedal shifters to shift down 3 gears in like half a second. So you really have to think about it. Maximum power is at 8400 RPM and max torque is at 6100, I believe. So you have to think about that when you drive a manual gearbox. If you're a gear too high, you will feel like the car is not really that powerful, because we've got a 510 horsepower flat 6 behind us, the 4 liter naturally aspirated, but it only has 470 newton meters of torque. So you're going to feel it when you're in 5th gear, when you should be in 4th or even 3rd. And I think that really adds to the experience. You're shifting that gear, you're taking one hand off the steering wheel when you shift at 9000 RPM. I mean, it is pretty insane. Oh, these tires really aren't made for wet weather driving. But this, man, as I said, shifting up yourself at 9,000 RPM, taking your hand off the wheel, it does add a level of excitement to the GT3. One more way you can separate the GT3 and the GT3 Touring is the way you can spec them, because of course you can go for PTS, which is paint to sample, basically choose any color you want. Porsche has just added even more colors to that, PTS Plus. But with the GT3 Touring, you can also choose to customize the interior color. So the GT3 has black race stacks, basically Alcantara, and you can't really choose anything except for the stitching and stuff like that. But with the Touring, you can go for the exclusive Manufaktur, which is a 14,000 euro option, and gives you freedom to choose from like 12 or 15 colors for the interior. So all this leather would be blue or red or cognac or brown, whatever you want, which is really, really cool. Now, of course, we also measured the 100 to 200 time, and I have to say I am quite surprised by the performance of this GT3 with the manual gearbox. So we measured the regular one with the PDK, the GT3, at 746, which is quite quick. And then we measured this at like 774. So the difference is less big than I was expecting. That's 300. What a lovely car, absolutely delightful to drive. Mother cracker. 0 to 100 for the PDK, 3.4 seconds, manual 3.9. We do have launch control for the manual gearbox as well, which limits the revs at 5,000 RPM, and then you let off the clutch and it's supposed to launch, but it's way too wet for that today. But I really like that you've got long gears. Of course, it's a Porsche. And when you keep it above 5,000 RPM, which you can do in second gear when you're in the slowest drag race in recorded history, the car feels as aggressive as it does with a PDK gearbox. It's just during gear shifting, you know, you lose that momentum, and we noticed really well on this like super wet, slippery, cold tarmac that when the weight transfers during a shift, you can lose traction, and it happens while you have one hand off the wheel because you're shifting from second to third or whatever. So it does feel like a harder car to drive fast than the GT3 with a PDK, or a Touring with a PDK for that matter, which I really like. You have to work to extract everything from it. Having said that, of course, if you like to do track driving, it's a no-brainer, go for a GT3 with a PDK, because it's just way quicker in most situations. The only thing is, apparently you do have a top speed which is like 2 kilometers higher because you don't have the rear wing, which is nice. Oh, but listen to that engine sing all the way to 9,000 RPM. It is one of the nicest cars out there today, this GT3 Touring with manual gearbox. I would definitely go for the manual if you had the choice. I think this will, in the long run, keep you satisfied for much longer. I think the PDK gearbox will get old at some point. You will get used to the crazy downshifts and the crazy fast upshifts, while this will keep challenging you till the end of days. And with that, the light is fading back in the Netherlands. I'm going to end it. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. Don't forget that. You can also check out this video on the right or go check out this playlist on the left. See you in the next one. Bye.